The Philippine government expressed concern after spotting more than 200 Chinese fishing vessels it believed were crewed by militias at a reef claimed by both countries in the South China Sea, but it did not immediately lodge a protest. A government body overseeing the disputed region said late that about 220 Chinese vessels were seen moored at Whitsun Reef. It released pictures of the vessels lying side by side in one of the most hotly contested areas of the strategic waterway. The reef, which Manila calls Julian Felipe, is a boomerang-shaped and shallow coral region about 175 nautical miles, 324 kilometers, west of Bataraza town in the western Philippine province of Palawan. It's well within the country's exclusive economic zone, over which the Philippines enjoys the exclusive right to exploit or conserve any resources, the agency said in a statement. The large numbers of Chinese boats are a concern due to the possible overfishing and destruction of the marine environment, as well as risks to safety of navigation, it said, although it added that the vessels were not fishing when sighted. When asked if the Philippines would file a protest, Foreign Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. tweeted, "Only if the generals tell me." Chinese embassy officials did not immediately issue any comment. China, the Philippines and 4 other governments have been locked in a tense territorial standoff over the resource-rich and busy waterway for decades. Critics have repeatedly called out President Rodrigo Duterte, who has nurtured friendly ties with Beijing since taking office in 2016, for not standing up to China's aggressive behavior and deciding not to immediately seek Chinese compliance with an international arbitration ruling that invalidated Beijing's historic claims to virtually the entire sea. China has refused to recognize the 2016 ruling and continues to defy it. The arbitration body also ruled that China had breached its duty to respect the traditional fishing rights of Filipinos when Chinese forces blocked them from Scarborough Shoal off the northwestern Philippines in 2012. The Philippines, however, could also not deny Chinese fishermen access to Scarborough, according to the ruling. The decision did not specify any other traditional fishing areas within the Philippines' exclusive zone where fishermen from China and other countries could be allowed to fish. When Xi says, "I will fish," who can prevent him? Duterte said 2 years ago as he defended his non-confrontational approach, referring to Chinese President Xi Jinping. "If I send my Marines to drive away the Chinese fishermen, I guarantee you not one of them will come home alive," Duterte said then, adding that diplomatic talks with Beijing allowed the return of Filipinos to disputed fishing grounds where Chinese forces had previously shooed them away. The reef is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone and continental shelf, which the NTFWPS said the Philippines owns exclusive right to use resources, including fish, oil and natural gas. The task force said the government will continue to monitor the situation to protect Philippine sovereignty and sovereign rights in the Philippine Sea. In consonance with the Philippine commitment to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, the government shall continue to peacefully and proactively pursue its initiatives on environmental protection, food security and freedom of navigation in the West Philippine Sea as part of its overall national security policy. Asked if a diplomatic protest would be filed, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. said the DFA will do so upon the recommendation of the military. "Only if the generals tell me. In my watch foreign policy is the fist in the iron glove of the armed forces. I don't care for media. Undependable. And civilian," he said on Twitter. China claims sovereignty over nearly the entire South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea, which refers to waters claimed by the Philippines.